Have any of you ever told your kids that you get 5 minutes between classes and they only get 4? Because I would be so mad about that if I was a kid.
They know where they're going. We don't.
Yeah. I still wish we would kick off with home base, because I used to spend all my home base time making sure everybody knew where they were going. That was like all we did. Feel free to check out the number selfies, or you can wait. You can get them at the end if you want. Talk to you a little bit about those. Oh, sure. Go for it. How's it going? Come on in.
Well, it's easy.
Yeah, I click on my phone.
She doesn't have to do anything, right?
No, they just have to vouch for us, and then we sign.
How are you? Nice to be here.
Who always said it before?
6:20. Good time. That was some interesting ones.
No, he was the
They did a
sponsor.
great job. All right. They also don't ring bells at you, which is like kind of nice. We'll go ahead and get started. Yeah. Okay. So yes, welcome back. You probably didn't think you'd set foot in this room again if you came all last year, but you are back. In fact, a lot of students walked in on the first day and asked, "Is this a typo on the schedule?" I said, "No, but you're here for accelerated geometry." Couple things. Yes, we are back. We is all of us. The class will run in a very similar format to last year. Not identical, but when I talk about like Schoology page, emails, how I lay things out, that will be pretty similar because it's all I've ever done for any class that I've ever taught. The biggest difference will be for them long range is what happens when they go to high school. I'll only touch on that a little bit tonight because we have all year, but I can promise you I'm not following them to high school. That's like one I can tell you. There are multiple times I thought I wouldn't work at the high school in my career, but I'm pretty sure this is like the only place I can manage. So there we go. I did want to give you a quick thank you, a sincere one for last year. I had a really wonderful year with these kids, and I'm not going to ask them. I thought about asking them first day, hey, how many of you are happy about this and how many of you are not? I can handle the truth. I didn't do it. But I feel very grateful to have them again. They really came a long way last year. They worked hard. Very likable group. Does anybody get my Mr. Feeney picture? Does anybody? I was counting at least one person. Okay, that's the case. They really did an amazing job all the way to the end. They took the first online keystones that we were going to do. I don't think you got the results yet. They all did great. Every single one of them, fantastic. And they put in a lot of hard work. So I actually looked at all the groups I've had recently, and I said, okay, if I had to cycle with this group for the next year, how would it go? I didn't rank them. Thought about it. I looked at this group and I genuinely said, hey, there's a lot here to do, and I feel very grateful. So I hope they're happy that we're doing this again. If they're not, I'm sorry, but I am. And I can also tell you, I cycled with the group about 10, 11 years ago. I taught 6th grade math, but then moved to this position. I know everybody says they remember all their students. I mean, this is year 19. We forget occasionally. I remember all those students. Because you kind of recommit yourself to getting to know them the second year around. So thank you for all the work you did with them last year. I am looking forward to another one. Hopefully enough of them are. One of the ways I wanted to make sure, because what I didn't want to do with them is say, well, I already know you, so I don't need to learn anything about you. That's not the case, even though it's only been a couple of months. So we did do the number selfie assignment. What they were supposed to do, tell me what their favorite number was, give me a couple sentences, which most of them did that. And then they had to take a selfie with it, and they had to either find the number somewhere or make it. They couldn't just write it down. They did a great job up there. But I also wanted to show you some of the trends, some of the breakdowns. So 14 of them, which is about a quarter, chose their uniform number. So the sport that they played or the number that they wore that near and dear to them. Another 14 of them chose their number for pure mathematical reasons. Like, I love it. Like, it divides by 6. It's like all these great, it's a square number. I didn't make them do that. Maybe they thought that was the assignment, but I believe them. 12 of them, this comes back to you, 12 of them chose their number because somehow it related to their birth. The month, the day, the minute, whatever it might be. That resonated with a lot of them, so good job there. 5 students chose the number. I mean, 5 students chose a number simply for how it looks. They're like, you know what, I just really like the way number 12 looks. I'm like, okay. Never really thought about that. These are some of my favorites. 2 of them chose a number because it was their first pickup number when they were in like first grade. Like their bus number or car number. Like, I loved that. That was like so sentimental to me. 2 of them picked it because it relates to this terrible meme that involves a number greater than 66. By the way, my personal goal is to get rid of that this year, so if it's bothering you, I'm going to work on it. Thank you. And 2 of them felt it was their number was lucky. Then my actual favorite answer. 1 student chose his number because he said every time my sister asked me to pick a number between 1 and 10, I pick the same number, and it bothers her. So, Hall of Fame stuff. Check them out on the way out. They did a really, really nice job. I wanted to do it with them. I did it with the algebra students as well, but for them specifically, I wanted them to know, like, okay, I'm not just going to be like, I already know you, I already know all of your tricks. You know, they're still evolving people. So we are talking geometry versus algebra. This is like an age-old kind of debate, and not everybody loves it. There are geometry people that don't like the skill base of algebra, and there are algebraic people who, when they hear geometry, they run for the hills. It's just, they're very different kinds of courses. And I could tell you all the differences, and I could spend forever talking about it, but I'm actually going to start with a visual. Has anybody ever seen that before? It's called the Penrose or the Impossible Triangle. So when I show this to them, which I think I showed it to them on like Tuesday this week, we say, why isn't it possible? And some of them will immediately shoot their hand up, and they will say, because it can't exist in our dimensions. If you follow this line up, and then that, to complete the triangle, it's in a different dimension or a different plane. In fact, you could do that with any of them. And when I tell them that, there's a lot of groups. There's the group that's like, wow, I see that immediately. There's the group that's like, I kind of see it. And there's the group that's like, I see it, but they really don't. That happens a lot in geometry. And that's the essence of kind of what we'll talk about with how we're going to approach this year. If you're curious what it actually is, it's actually this. It's not really a solid structure connected in our 3 dimensions. It's just an optical illusion, so to speak. This is what it actually is, and you would need that extra dimension to connect it. There's actually a structure of this I think it's in Australia, and it only looks like a complete triangle depending on where you stand. Okay, so there's a lot of really cool things, but they're going to have to be honest with themselves and me if they're just not seeing it right away. Because for a lot of them, if it's not as skill-based, they have to rely on the conceptual part. Okay, that's kind of what makes the course cool. The course itself, you're going to notice a trend. Pretty much every chapter starts out with things that they probably saw in like 4th or 5th grade. They're going to see the topic and be like, oh, points and lines, rays, parallel lines that they know like only a very little bit about. And then we kind of crank up the intensity pretty much every chapter. That's the nature of the course. I can tell you where the problem spots usually are. We are going to do some basic constructions with the compass. Do you remember doing the compass? That's still around. It hasn't gone anywhere. They're excited. I mean, they have them. I told them if you have 5 minutes, like just practice drawing circles, and like they're doing that. So that's kind of cool. Once we start to hit the big bad proofs, that's going to be different for them. It's no longer sit down and solve it using the skills. It's, do I know the definitions, the theorems? And for some of them, am I willing to write them down? That's a battle that I can fight with them. Then we start to hit some of the real fun stuff. All the different ways of proving triangles congruent. It's it's very different than anything that they've done before. They've dealt with angles, yet they have not gone through and talked about these different things. A few more constructions, proving quadrilaterals or a parallelogram. It's so fun because that's where they just tell me, well, it's obvious, and I'm like, no, you have to prove everything. So they already know that this stuff is coming, but we'll talk about last year versus this year. Fun fact: they will also do trig ratios, so they will no longer call it sin on the calculator if that's what they've been doing. Or they'll still call it that, and it will bother me, but they'll get to that. And then again, you'll notice that same trend, okay? You start with things where it's like, oh, area of parallelograms and triangles. We did this in like 4th grade, and then by the end, all of a sudden, you're doing arcs, and they build pretty fast every chapter. The nice thing about the class is while it builds, each chapter kind of starts there and then cranks itself up a little bit. Okay, so it's a cool class. Very different than what they're used to. There is one book. It is right here. Most of them did not want to have one at home last year. If you feel they would benefit from having one of these at home, you can just email me. I can give it to you. One thing I did change from this year, I made sure that not only do they have my materials, they have digital access to this book. It's not just something I'm going to recommend this year. I'm actually going to give them some assignments in it because I think it will help. Algebra, I'm pretty sure I know what to give them. Geometry, I'm like, I think you might need to look at this. So they have their book digitally. If you want one of these, just send me an email. I got plenty. Things I won't spend as much time on because they haven't changed. In fact, these are the same slides as last year, same cartoons. The homework is still 10% of the overall grade. I am still asking that they check with the answer key. They did a fantastic job last year. Fantastic job of not only doing the homework honestly, but using the answers the right way. It saved us a lot of class time. It led to a lot of really good discussion, and hopefully they weren't, driving you nuts with homework at home. I'm expecting a similar flow this year. The assessments are still 90% of the overall grade, just like they were last year. They have a final. Good news, no Keystone because they all did so great. That will take a significant load off of their plate come April and May. But they will still have the final, which is 20% of the overall grade. Again, nothing different here. One big difference is if they don't hit the number to maintain the accelerated pathway, they don't have to repeat accelerated geometry. So at the middle school, we don't offer all of the classes because not everybody's taking high school classes. So we offer accelerated algebra 2, accelerated geometry. We don't offer core algebra 2 and core geometry. There's just not an audience for it. So if they maintain their 83%, it's 83, they would move on to accelerated algebra 2 next year. Do I have any 7th grade parents here? Okay, they're going to algebra 2 no matter what because they have to. 83% they can move on to accelerated algebra 2. If they do not maintain the 83, or if they hit the 83 and the pace is just a lot, they have the option to, or they would be scheduled for if they fall below, core algebra 2. So they don't have to repeat the entire geometry class because they have the option for the core. It's kind of, we don't have that here because we wouldn't have the audience for it, so to speak. If they want to stay on the accelerated path and they fall below at 70%, they might be asked to retake accelerated geometry. Okay, so they have more options. And I never like dwelling on this stuff in August because everybody just looks at the numbers and it establishes this kind of like, scarlet letter tactic with the 83 and everything. But they have more options, okay? And the geometry is going to be different. And the thing I always tell people is that geometry is not your cup of tea. That doesn't mean algebra 2 can't be. I'm going to say that I taught algebra 2 for years. I will still email you before every test. They haven't taken one yet. They will take one next Friday. The schedule's been a little wonky and I didn't want to rush it. So they will have one. I'll still email you. Same deal as last year. The YouTube channel is still good. It's actually the same one as last year. And they have to share it with Algebra 1. Last year, they were sharing it with Algebra 2. This year, they share it with Algebra 1, which is what they had last year. They might not have used this consistently last year, but it is always there. I do record for them every day. It's not expected they go home and watch it minute for minute, but if they need to see something, they're welcome to. One benefit for the 8th graders is, even if they're playing a sport, they're not leaving early for this in all likelihood. Okay, that's a huge benefit to 8th grade. They either have me period 1 or 5. So this might not get used quite as much, but it's there. I'm going to keep posting them. The Schoology page, there's a couple things I just want to point out. The flow of what they'll see is the same. So if I pick, I I don't know why I wouldn't pick today, but I guess I could have. I don't even know what day it is. I'll pick today. Things I'll continue to post for them, the classwork. Some of them used this last year, but well, I'll talk about this in a second. I don't want them to rely on last year for this class, which we'll address in a moment. I do still post my notes for them every day. So if they miss, or if they want to see something, or if they're bad at notes and they just want to see mine, they can't handle the video, they don't want to watch the video, they can just always check out my notes. By the way, anytime we see Algebra 1, I make them put a little heart next to it. Just to have a good time. They have my notes. They have them every single day. That's a tool for them if they need it, if they don't want to check out the videos. Okay, and then again, the homework answers are in there as well. My big thing for them this year is going to be to kind of be creative, and it's also a goal for myself. So, where am I at here? Okay. Probably the hardest part about having them again this year, it's not recognizing them. Usually people are like, do you recognize them? I'm like, it's been 2 months. Like, I recognize them. I mean, some of them look a little different, but there's no one that's walked in where I'm like, wow, that's you? I'm like, it's been 2 months. Like, probably the hardest part for a lot of them is there's probably the perception that it's going to be the same as it was last year, good or bad. I have to convince them that that is not the case. Just because things were great last year with whatever level of effort they put into the class, it doesn't mean it's going to carry over. It is different stuff. And maybe they had to work to a certain capacity last year to get there, and they might see some of the stuff a little bit more naturally. It is like a totally different ball game. So my big message to them is, take off what you had last year, build off of it. Don't assume everything's a one-to-one transfer, because we were talking about an entirely different class. And the last thing there that I'm going to show you is I'm going to post as many things for them as I can, and I encourage them to look as well. Because I'm worried some of them might be reluctant to put in the extra work if it's not going super well right away, because maybe they didn't have to last year. But it's a totally different class. So
please proceed to session 3.
I have all these things for them that might not be available in geometry, like this isometric builder. And I'm going to really encourage them to be creative. And that would probably be my last message to you is encourage them to use resources and not to just get sucked into anything from last year, like good or bad, because it's an entirely different course. And if it's great right away, they still got to work at it. If it's not great because it's not algebra, that doesn't mean it can't get better. That can actually be a tough sell. I think it's an even harder sell if they had a really good year last year and this looks entirely different. So I'll keep working on posting extra resources for them. I would encourage them to do the same. But again, they're a great group. I feel very fortunate to have them again. Please feel free to reach out to me if you ever have any questions about this class or where they're going next year. So check out the number selfies on the way out. Thanks again.
Can you say your YouTube channel tag again?
What's that?
What was your YouTube channel? I think is that 2010 or something?
That's a great question because it's changed.
Okay.
I'll show you. It's right there.
I just want to say hi. I'm Kara Egypt. I'm Gemma's mom.
Oh, hi, yeah.
She was thrilled to have you again.
Oh, good. Well, I almost did the inventory just so I knew,
Yeah.
but like still.
She was like, "This is awesome."
It's so weird.
So she seems fine. She says she loves geometry so far.
does.
So
Yeah.
It's funny how you can tell right away how some of them
yeah,
like just
she's.
really like
But
manage this.
if anything's ever going on, just let me know. And
Sure.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gemma told me she needed a compass.
They do
I
need-
just
they-
order
they-
it on Amazon?
Yeah, they do
Okay.
need a compass.
I looked at Walmart when we bought supplies.
Because I texted Jack while we were here, and he's like, "No, I don't need one, Mr.
I once got this on Amazon for like $9.
Oh, okay, just like that, yeah. And that would have probably
Geometry.
everything. they
Yeah,
need.
just because they have to do a good bit of them at home.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, hi, nice to see you.
I was here last. I was like, I remember you from last year.
Most people do.
I have to, Vanessa, the,
You can get posted these days.
You really? I'm just
Yes,
saying this one.
you should have Oscar. I made one for him for his birthday. You should have this.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Please do, because I was really proud of it.
That is
So,
awesome.
all right.
He's such a, I mean, he's a great girl. I love that.
He did. He had,
That's good. You don't always want to see him. I remember we were about to. He's so great. I'm not saying it's
no, actually, so it's, yeah, you'll feel bad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, good to see you again. How's it going? Hey, how are you? Good. Come on in. Hello. Hello. Hopefully you're here for Algebra 1. I think we have another meeting in. You're going?